Okay. We should be live. We're live at 5, only it's 4. Here we go. We're live at 5, only it's... All right, guys, we will get up and running here. If you would, share this with a friend, tag a friend, all the things. We've got, interesting developments in the world of hurricane forecasting. We've got model trends that are quite a bit south from earlier data this morning. Which would be great news for Tampa, the Tampa Bay area. The thought process now is just trying to kind of figure out how much wobbling are we dealing with, and where does this really end up making landfall? The map you're seeing right now is the latest advisory of Major Hurricane Milton, 155 mile per hour winds. I believe this is 1 mile per hour away from a Category 5. At the latest advisory. 156 will put you to the Cat 5 category. 923 millibar pressure. I believe we're waiting on recon to pass through again, hopefully any moment here. And so we do have new data runs in that have shifted the track a little bit south. So that is certainly something that we are going to be paying a lot of attention to see if this trend continues. So basically all of our models have come in now this afternoon and have taken the eye wall, or the eye of Milton, if you will, about 15 miles further south, maybe even 20 miles south of where they were 12 to 24 hours ago, which could be great news for those of you in the Clearwater, St. Pete, Tampa Bay area. You're still going to deal with an unbelievable impact from this storm. It's just that the gustiest winds, if you will, in the southern, southeastern portion of the eye may just elude you to the south. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I will take questions and read your comments as I go later into the broadcast here, but I want to show you satellite as of right now. You can see the clear definition of the eye wall really taking shape here. This is really just a perfectly symmetrical storm. It's big, it's growing. In fact, it's quite a bit more expansive than it was. The eye wall really right now is probably twice the size the eye was yesterday. Yesterday was a tiny eye. Today it's gotten much bigger, and we're kind of anxiously awaiting to see what recon says as it's flying through that storm to give us some of the latest information. All right. So the big thing is, does Milton continue to intensify today? Yes, I think so. I think we're going to continue. I think we're going to see it go back to a Category 5. The thing that we're kind of struggling with is a lot of the models are just still really, really struggling with intensity. All right, the intensity of the hurricane in and of itself is just struggling with what the models are saying to start off their runs with. Now, the track, if you will, the forecast, everything has kind of gone in which of the direction of just, again, like we said, south of the Tampa Bay area. But the intensity is, to me, is kind of a wild card in terms of if it's a little further south than it was, will it be a little bit stronger upon landfall? That's also something else that could happen as well. Okay, so as we continue to go here, I would love if you could share this with a friend. I would love if you could tag some people, make sure we get the word out, follow the pages if you're not following them, so we can continue to kind of spread the word on forecast adjustments. They're a big deal here for Milton as we get closer. I want to show you the latest. This is an image here of, I want to make sure I have the latest image for you, just to make sure that hasn't updated. And this is all off Tomerberg's website. This is a great website for hurricane information. It's free, anyone can access it. This is a look at where the center of Milton is right now versus the cone, the forecast track. Note how far south it is of that cone and of that track. it's following a lot closer to the ensemble mean guidance, the global ensembles, the global models. And we've seen a shift in those this morning. And it's kind of telling to see that. I'd imagine with the 5 p.m. advisory, we're going to see some adjustments to the Hurricane Center's official track here, probably nudging it south of, again, Bradenton, maybe towards Sarasota for landfall. All right. Again, but just impressive to see. That's, I don't know, 10 miles or so maybe off from where it's actually saying it should be in the official Hurricane Center's track. So these are some interesting things we're noticing. A couple things that are important. Stronger hurricanes can wobble a little bit more. Okay, they can kind of go back and forth, and that's something that they're going to do. The exact landfall right now, where we're at is let's see, we are about 30 hours out from landfall, give or take. That's probably still up for debate on a 30-mile swing, realistically. I mean, where we have it, where we're forecasting Milton to touch land, it could still go one way or the other by 20 to 30 miles. You got to understand that. Will it be a 30-mile swing? Probably not, but could it be? Yes. So we got to really consider this. We can't slam dunk a landfall location right now. It's just not possible, especially with the intense levels of the extreme levels of intensification that's going on within the storm. I want to talk to you about the trends. This is the American model ensembles. So the American model has its operational run, and then it has 30 other different members within it. It has 31 different lines, 31 different forecasts, okay? It runs every 6 hours, okay? The latest run that ran this morning takes all but 3, so 28 different ensemble members are now south of Tampa Bay, all right? The ensemble mean, which is the black line, it's all the tracks averaged out into one, is about 10 to 15 miles south here and would go right into Sarasota. That's the morning, it's the latest run of the American ensemble. Okay, so that's going to carry a heavy weight with the forecast products that come out from the Hurricane Center and the National Weather Service. That's the American data. Here's the European model. Okay, same thing going on here. The European actually has over 100 ensembles. This particular set has 51 of them. And the mean, again, goes south here. That may even be south of Sarasota, possibly, just by the look of that. Let me take a look here at my, I got to get my, that may even be closer to, just by the look here, it's tough to get an actual, I would say it's south of Sarasota, probably closer to like Gulf Gate Estates or Osprey, just west of 75 here on the west coast. So these are big south trends at 30 hours, 36 hours out from landfall. And so seeing this again for Tampa Bay, St. Pete, Clearwater, this is good news. It is good news. It's not good news, obviously, for where it's going now for Osprey and Sarasota and Venice Beach. That's not good news for you guys if the eye wants to approach that particular location. So you're going to really have to keep an eye on this. But an overwhelmingly high number of different weather models is saying south trends here by a decent amount. So with that being said, I don't want folks to assume that you're out of the woods for impacts with this hurricane. You're still going to experience a life-threatening storm surge. You're still going to experience incredible levels of rainfall and just intense winds. It's still a major hurricane, and you're still very close to the eye wall. It's not like you're just not going to get the impact. So I want to make sure we all understand that very, very much so. This is a look here at kind of the wind and the arrival times of these winds. I want to kind of take you through this. I want to stop right here. And the one thing I want to preface is the landfall currently with these winds. Let's go a little bit, zoomed in a little bit more here. With these winds may be a little north here. We may need to see some adjustments, but we're still seeing indications of winds gusting to 130 miles per hour at landfall, okay? inland here, you can see winds 65 to 70 miles per hour as far out as Ocala, the Villages, Orlando, Disney World, these types of places further inland here into Florida. You're still going to be dealing with severe weather, severe storm wind gusts or tropical storm force wind gusts as you get further out. All right, these are just wind gusts out through, let's go through the whole storm. So as you go right over Orlando, look at this, we're forecasting Category 1 hurricane force winds here over Orlando, over Disney World. All right, so it's not like that these winds are just because the eye, it may be in Bradenton, it may be here in Sarasota, could be in Venice Beach. I mean, we're kind of, we got to figure out this may come south a little bit. That may be the risk here. Nonetheless, you're talking about maximum wind gusts with this particular conversation. You're still going to be dealing with major hurricane winds. That, you know, the storm surge, the rainfall, the flooding, that's not going to change. And that's what's important. I don't want that message to be lost on you guys. Because one thing that's for certain, look at these wave heights. You may have waves out in the ocean that could be, you know, over 30, 40 feet. So we're going to have a significant amount of water just being forced into land. All right, so that's where we start talking about storm surge. Because the hurricane is so big, I'd be curious if you could measure for me how big it is, mileage-wise, if you could give me an idea on that, if there's any way. But because it's so big, it's going to cover so much of the coast. Experiencing hurricane conditions it's the 20-mile wobble in the eye isn't going to change anything, okay? I don't want your guard to be taken down, all right, from that is my point. So here's your storm surge forecast, okay? This may update at 5 o'clock, we'll see. But the storm surge still keeps from Clearwater, St. Pete, Tampa, Indian Rocks, Bradenton, Sarasota, Venice Beach. It's a 10 to 15 foot storm surge. So if you could look at the number of the amount of property and homes that are 10 foot or under, it would really baffle your mind at how much of this is going to be underwater. A 15-foot storm surge here is going to be, you know, again, a situation of which like you all have really never seen before. Did you get the distance?
Yeah, and that one that's probably in that 5 foot or above range, you probably have about a 235 to 250 mile range just in that.
Okay, so from basically Yankeetown all the way down to whatever this is, just south of Bonita Beach, you're saying it's about 200 miles?
About 230.
About 230 miles is kind of the expansiveness of Milton right now, which is why I want to make sure you guys understand, don't be entirely fixated on the eye and the center of where it goes. The worst of the worst, yeah, it may be going south of Tampa Bay, which is good for them. It's not good for the people south. So it's like we're taking bad away from someone and giving bad to someone else. It's not really like it's a good deal for anybody. So again, 15-foot storm surge. If you can imagine in your mind the worst possible case scenario for someone, that's that, okay? That's what that would mean. It does not get any worse than that. Even a 10-foot storm surge. You know, down here, Inglewood and Bonita Beach, last time when Helene went through, it was like 2 to 4 feet. Okay, so you're doubling, if not tripling that, possibly. All right, so just something to keep in mind. We'll go to the next graphic here for rainfall totals, because if we see a little south tick in the data, we will increase the rainfall totals on the northwest side of the area of low pressure for Tampa. Okay, remember, the heavier rain was a little further northwest when the low pressure center was a little further north. Well, now that we've seen a trend south with that, the heavy rains are going to come with it, and you're probably going to get a little bit more rain because it might be a little bit of a stronger storm. This would be a swath from Clearwater Beach, Tampa Bay, inward through Disney, Orlando, the Villages. This is a swath of a foot or more of rain. So you take the storm surge already of 10 to 15 feet and you add a foot of rain to it as well. All right, you have prolific levels of flooding. It's already rained, by the way. I don't know how much across Florida. How much rain have they gotten in the last 7 days? Kipper, do you know? Just an observed amount here. Where that main swath is going through, how much have we seen? I can see it on the screen there, so that'll be helpful. But you just got to keep in mind that the heavy rainfall element to this forecast is, this is a whole nother side of this. You're talking about a high risk of flash flooding, right, across the area. So in that area, the last 7 days, we've seen places get 4 to 6 inches of rain already. How much in Orlando, Disney area there, Kipper? Yeah, so, I mean, in and around the area, 3, 4, 5 inches already. So saturated soils, it's been raining for days, and now you're going to throw in a foot of rain with hurricane force winds. I would anticipate widespread power outages across the state, widespread down trees, widespread issues from coast to coast, from Clearwater to Daytona, right? I mean, that's what I would, Cape Canaveral, all of it. I would anticipate issues coast to coast with power, with flooding, you name it. I would anticipate seeing images come out of Disney World you probably haven't seen in many, many years. All right, I believe it's already a ghost town there in Disney World. So the storm surge is really my biggest concern with everything. But let's get serious here with the forecast track, which, by the way, I live off of these First Form energy drinks. Shameless plug. You want to sponsor our streams, you can. Anyways, this is our current thought process for the track of Milton. Okay. I'm concerned, if anything right now, it's not far enough south. All right? A lot of the data has come in from the track north to the cone here, and has taken, we don't have very much data in this area anymore. Not much at all. Maybe like 5% of the ensembles out of hundreds of them. Okay? If anything, right now, I'm really, really thinking about Bradenton, Sarasota to Venice Beach. Venice Beach to Bradenton, how far is that, Kip? Can you tell me from Bradenton to Venice Beach on the west coast there, mileage-wise? What are we, 15 miles?
Said to Venice.
Venice to, it's a small little beach there. But
About 25.
is it 25 miles? Okay, so 25 miles from Venice to Bradenton on where the eye could go. Okay? It saves Tampa Bay. It destroys Sarasota, Venice if it goes further south. I'm very curious to see the 5 p.m. Hurricane Center's track and their adjustments. Listen, I'm not saying our forecast is better than theirs. I don't know that there's a good, bad, or better or worse forecast out there right now. Everyone's just trying to tell people where the eye of the storm is going to go. Okay? We still think, despite the discrepancies in the intensity model forecast, that this could still be a Category 4 hurricane late tomorrow night. That's our thought process right now. And we're kind of basing that off of past experiences just from Helene and Michael. When these hurricanes, listen, Helene, I believe, just a day or two out, thought process was a 2 at landfall, I believe. I don't know if does that sound right? A 2 at landfall with Helene a day or two out from some of the other forecasts?
I think so.
I feel like that's right. And it hit as a 4. And it had a lot of shear and dry air it was going to battle. It had the same elements battling Milton that those storms had, and it still made landfall as a 4. So we're kind of citing on more of an outside-the-box gut experience call here on intensity. It's not really data related at this point. Some of this data is off by 30, 40 millibars in pressure right now. So just got to keep that in mind. And with how impressive Milton looks currently on satellite, it's just one of those things where it's like, gosh, it's 230 miles long, and it's big, it's organized, it's fast, it's strong, and so it's just something we're gonna, kind of continue to consider at this point in time. So, for those of you who are really wanting to nail down, it's a nice comment. I just walked over here and saw Randy Rogers say something pretty nice. I appreciate that, Randy. But for those of you who are really wanting to nail this down, I'm really right now, I'm talking about Venice Beach. I'm talking about Sarasota, Bradenton. This is where a lot of the data has gone for landfall with Milton, for the center, for the eye, okay? That's where I'm gonna be really putting my attention towards, probably right around midnight tomorrow night, give or take on, on when it hits the land. But that's kind of the thought process right now on when we look to see that happen. So with all of this and this analysis, I appreciate all the kind words I'm seeing, at least over here on the screen. What kind of questions do we have? Just kind of start throwing them at me if you guys want.
People are asking why all of a sudden are hurricanes becoming like there again, basically.
Why are they coming what? I'm
Like,
sorry?
Why are there hurricanes again after the big long lull that we've had?
Yeah, the reason hurricanes are coming back around, I guess you could say, is just global climate cycles from La Nina to El Nino. We also watch what we call the AMO, which is the Atlantic Multi-Decadal Oscillation. It's the temperature of the Atlantic Ocean a lot. It went through a cold phase for about 10 years, and now it's not cold anymore, it's warm, and we're in a very favorable environment for hurricanes to develop. So that's normal, by the way. That's not man-induced. That's not geoengineering. It's not any of the hogwash you guys have been listening to out there. We've gone through these cyclical periods for many years. We actually have the index called the Atlantic Multi-Decadal Oscillation. Multi meaning several, decadal meaning 10 decades, like period, 10-year periods. So multiple 10-year periods, it's an oscillating index. This is nothing new. This has been around since a long time. So, nobody's out there right now flying a super secret aircraft, dropping in like little gallons of storm juice. You gotta understand just how crazy all that really is. Sorry, I get carried away. Next question.
We got one from Chris saying that a ton of people evacuated to Miami with the current track. If it keeps going further south, do you expect Miami to be much of an impact?
It ain't gonna go that far south, I don't think. If you're down in Miami, right now the storm surge forecast in Miami is there is none. You would have to see another 30 to 50 mile shift south if you've gone to Miami to even experience much issue. So no, I don't think it's gonna be a problem down there.
Fort Myers.
Fort Myers, yeah, I would be concerned if you're in Fort Myers Beach, for sure. I think that, you're definitely going to be dealing with hurricane force winds and a storm surge of 6 to 10 feet, maybe more at this point if we adjust this and continue to move it south a little bit. So I believe we get a hurricane center update in 30 minutes. Have we had a new recon yet?
They're flying out there right now.
Okay.
So I don't think that they've reached it quite yet.
I wonder how close they are. Do we know? Ask
Yeah.
Kemper.
There's two on their way right now.
Okay. Other questions?
Why stronger hurricanes wobble? Why do we see it tip back and forth?
They're kind of in a world of their own. I mean, they're spinning so quickly. So the slightest things can shift their focal points. It's just kind of the thing that they do.
How far inland do you believe that some storm surge can get?
That's a good question. I don't really know the answer to that. I don't know how far inland the storm surge can really go. I think that it just really depends on a number of factors. I think the map that you see here probably would indicate the storm surge is going about, 10 miles in, maybe. I don't know if that sounds, I'm not an expert on storm surge, so it's tough for me to answer, but yeah.
Can you talk about Disney, Orlando area a little bit?
Yeah, so the Disney Orlando area, again, when we look at the wind gust forecast swath, we're anticipating Category 1 hurricane conditions over that area. So widespread, winds 80 miles per hour or greater sustained for a period of time. A rainfall forecast through that area right now of a foot or more of rain. So just really, really nasty conditions, hurricane conditions. wiping out power and damaging a lot of things along its path. So for Wednesday night from 1 in the morning until Thursday, probably 8 in the morning, it's going to be really nasty in Orlando, and then it'll move out of the area.
What happens once it passes Florida?
It stops raining.
Like, do you expect it to go up the East Coast or just go out?
The storm will go out to sea as it passes. I can show you kind of where the storm would go here. This is a look at the European model ensembles, and you can see that it takes it out to sea after it passes. I am very, very intrigued on how far south that European ensemble is. That is something else. What else do we got?
Someone asked, or a couple people have asked, is there much of an indication, or do you think it can take up back to the north to get right into Tampa again? Into the bay?
Yeah, 1 second. 10 miles I live in there from your watch. Okay. Yeah, Will, I see your comment, the 10-mile question, which is why I specifically said I'm not a storm surge expert, so I don't know. I understand what you're saying, but there's no way for me to know, sitting here in my office in Greenwood, how far inland your water is going to go. Come on, let's be a little bit more realistic here. Sorry, ask that question again about Tampa.
Just with all the southerly ticks and everything, is there the risk that it goes back to the north to get back into the Tampa area?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this could be a head fake on the modeling. There's certainly that potential. I will say that the really, the big shift here in the European ensembles and things. Obviously there's a large cluster north of the mean, and there's a large cluster south of the mean. So this is. It could go back north, yes, by a few miles, and I think we're going to see a little bit of this go on. Again, we're not set in stone with where we think this is going to make landfall. We won't know for certain landfall until this time tomorrow. I mean, this time tomorrow we may have probably a really certain idea. So another 24 hours of, for specific city or lat longe location for landfall.
We had a few questions in about Cape Coral, down near Fort Myers.
Yes, so some questions coming in about Cape Coral, what to anticipate there. Yeah, I mean, still a big storm surge down in Cape Coral. 6 to 10 foot storm surge, which I believe Cape Coral is it north of Bonita Beach, do we know? Cape Coral? I can't remember. I believe it's in this region here. But 6 to 10 foot storm surge. Now, not as much rain further south that you go, but still going to be looking at hurricane force winds in that area. It's not going to be a walk in the park by any means.
Cape Coral's just to the north.
Of Bonita?
Just to the north.
Yeah, so right in here, I mean, yeah, you're still going to be in the thick of it, for sure.
Questions coming in about the Panhandle. They can expect anything?
Yeah, a lot of folks wondering about the impacts here in the Panhandle of Florida. Not much. I mean, maybe a 1 to 3 foot storm surge in the big bend here in the where Helene went through. So a little bit of a storm surge there. Really not much in the way of rain. In fact, you probably won't see much of any. From Destin, Panama, Tallahassee, really not looking at any rainfall either, I don't think. So the Panhandle is largely spared. Cool. One more question and we'll wrap this one up. Anything else?
Probably the other one maybe would be, is there much of a storm surge risk getting further up on the Atlantic coast, especially towards like Daytona, Jacksonville, up through Savannah, that kind of general area as it passes through?
Yeah, I mean, there's a 3 to 5 foot storm surge risk on the northeast coast of Florida, so that's still significant. That's still going to be enough to cause some issues. So it goes up into Georgia as well, 2 to 4 feet up there in the Alta Altamama Sound. Altamahama Sound? I don't know if I'm saying that right. And then upwards to Modesto Beach. There's a 1 to 3 foot storm surge anticipated up there. So again, you're still going to get hit with nasty winds, hurricane force winds, and a ton of rain. So I'll tell you what, guys, go back and watch if you've got questions. Sum this up. Milton's still very organized, very strong. Data this afternoon is trending south of Tampa Bay. We're watching Sarasota, Bradenton, Venice Beach area for possible landfall right now. It's about a 25-mile area of uncertainty from Venice Beach up to St. Pete, if you will, or Bradenton area. And the afternoon models have trended south. So we're going to continue to keep you posted. I would say let's anticipate another live update tonight at 8:30. All right, we're going to shoot for live coverage tonight, 8:30, update on things, and we'll keep you posted. So set a reminder in your phone, come back at 8:30, check us out. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow, whatever it is you need to do to Facebook, YouTube, or X so you get notified for the updates, and we'll bring you the latest and greatest at that time. Thanks for watching today, and we'll see you tonight.